I've been making a fuss about it for over a year now. I've been writing and speaking about various banks that have excluded people and organisations, very often charities, simply because they didn't like their politics, they didn't like their social view of things. For example, anti-abortion charity, the Free Speech Union, that was cancelled by PayPal. Us for Them charity was cancelled also by PayPal. There is not just NatWest, and I would like to see a root and branch change across the banking sector.
What kind of reform are we talking about here, do you think, Jasmine? What kind of regulation do we need? Because banks have become, haven't they, moral arbiters, and we didn't seem to realise until Nigel Farage lifted a lid on it all.
Yes, I do think it's hilarious that banks set themselves up, as you say, as moral arbiters, given that all of the main banks, particularly the bigger ones, are regularly, annually fined millions of pounds for all sorts of bad behaviour on their part. So, that they set themselves up as deciding who's good and who isn't is quite hilarious. But I think what we very much need here is stronger laws to stop banks, which are, of course, companies, and in one sense you could say they can say yay or nay to whoever they like, but they're offering a service, and it's an essential service. So I think in this case it is right that we have laws that tell them what criteria they can use to keep or to reject customers, because I think all of us would be perfectly happy for banks to reject fraudsters, money launderers, that sort of thing. That's entirely reasonable. But I think most of us would feel, no, it's not reasonable for a bank to reject somebody or an organisation simply because they don't like their politics or they don't like their view of society. That is unacceptable.
Jasmine, do you think there will be a wake-up call with the financial institutions, that they will suddenly go, do you know what? Yeah, this is a bit out of order. We shouldn't have been doing this, and that they will voluntarily change things before they may be forced to change things?
Well, it's possible, but this type of thinking, of course, as we know, is not just confined to banks. We're seeing this sense of excluding those who don't think the way you want them to think across so many institutions. We see it very much in academia. We're seeing it in the civil service. We're seeing it in the health service, certainly in politics and parts of politics. So banking is just one of the areas where this nasty way of thinking has taken root. So some might, but I think it will take quite a long time for particularly the younger levels, those in their 20s and 30s who've grown up being quite often indoctrinated in this way of thinking, for them to change their view. So I think, sadly, this is something that does need some legislation, and I'd like to see it not just in the banking sector, but in other parts of our lives, particularly, I would say, starting with academia.